Sadhana yogis and yoginis, hello and welcome. Today we are going to continue with number one. This is this video for today. We're going to go deeper into where can we find number one in us, not just our body, physical body, in other ways as well, like emotions and the mind. We're going to connect the one to the different levels of being: the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spirit. But we're going to take some time to reflect on the physical because that's the one that we can see more clearly. And this is going to be useful in two ways. One is because that's going to increase our knowledge of the numbers. It's going to improve our understanding of numbers and our dictionary of numbers related to number one, following with what we did on the first video. And another one is we're gonna, I know most of many people who come into Karam Kriya, they come from yoga. So if you come from yoga, you may be asking yourself, well, how can I apply what I know about numbers to yoga? And today is going to be a very practical video on this exactly. So I don't know if I mentioned it the other day, but if I'm going to be guiding a yoga class, and I choose the class according to the numbers of the date, this is going to be more effective, more powerful. So for example, today is the 18th of February. And if I think about 18th, that's 1 and the 8. And the 1 plus 8 is 9. So there's the 1 and the 9 and the 8. So if I do a Kriya that is going to be having some relevance with the numbers 1, 8, 9, it's going to be more powerful, and it's going to be more effective. As we are practicing it, you're going to feel that is having a strong effect on you. But how do you choose a Kriya that has numbers 1 and 8 and 9? Well, for that you need to know which are the qualities of 1 and 8 and 9, and how to identify them is what we're going to be doing today with the number 1. So let's go straight away. We already saw some things which were number 1. Let me show you the diagram from last week. This is let's get a little bit closer. We did see some things, and already this is going to be giving us a clue. For example, if we think about soul, okay? So any Kriya or any meditation, any practice in which you are connecting to the soul is going to be having a relationship to number 1. So right away, if you have a number of Kriyas and they have a title and they're telling you this Kriya or this meditation is for seeking the soul's guidance, for example, or for connecting to your soul, things like that, then this is going to be speaking to number 1. Another thing we have here is earth. And so earth is, you can say it as both the element and what is below our feet. So you're going to see any Kriya that is connecting us with the element of earth, the Tattva, that's going to be also number 1. But also Kriyas which connects us to the earth. Let me see. I have a book of Kriyas here with me. Let me show some exercises. Now, let's see this one, for example. Right? Now, this exercise, even though, with one knee in the front and the other leg straight out, is something that is going to work on the, it's going to be, what does he say? Does he say here? Pituitary gland and the ovaries are relaxed. So this posture is going to release tension in the ovaries. But pituitary gland is because the third eye is on the ground. However, it's not just about the sexual organs, which is 2 and 8, and the pituitary gland, which is number 6, but it's also that we are on the ground, and we are all straight on the ground. The whole body is laying flat. Well, not flat, but it's laying on the ground. We are very much in contact with the ground. So there's going to be a lot of 1 in this first exercise of the Kriya, but also other exercises which could be you were going to be something coming into the ground or coming down and putting the forehead to the ground, then standing up, things like that. something that we have to touch the ground, maybe hit the ground a number of times and then stand up. There are some kriyas where we have to hit the ground a few times and then har, 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 hari. All right, so anything that has a connection with the ground, that's going to be number one. So we also had the smell. So smell is the nose, is linked to the nose. And so in yoga, we are sometimes concentrating the eyes on the third eye, but sometimes we're concentrating the eyes on the nose, this nasikagra. Yeah, it's the focus is on the nose. So when we are bringing the focus to the nose, the drishti is called, the drishti to the nose, then that is going to be emphasizing the one. So you're starting to see how we can see how some exercises from yoga are going to be contacting us with some of the elements. So let's say, for example, that you have an issue with the number one, a problem with number one, which could be many things, including those things that are connected here, but not only this. Yeah, we have already started to explore many things connected to one. Let's say one of them is passivity. Number one is very still and stable and strong, but also the static becomes passive and then stuck. Yeah, and then you are not advancing. And so if you find yourself that you're experiencing a difficulty to start doing something, rather than start, you get stuck. Well, if that happens to you, it might be an excess in a karmic way of that energy of number one. So doing some exercises of yoga in which you are bringing an emphasis to the number one, that could help to unstuck that energy. So even concentrating on the nose is going to be an interesting way to connect to that energy. But in this case, if the issue is with being stuck, I wouldn't necessarily do it with a meditation where you concentrate on the nose, because the meditation is generally very still and very stable and static. But if you want to unstuck yourself and start doing something that you want to do, then how about doing some kriya, some exercise, some physical exercise that brings action, but in relationship to the one, or using the one as a stability for the action. Something where the ground is like a main element of the exercise, but you're utilizing it with some fire into some action. And one good example for this would be the one that I was just mentioning, where you are bending forward, touching the ground, and then standing up. Let me find that kriya. I'll show you how it is. I'm just referring to kriyas which are very popular in the Kundalini Yoga community. They are in the manual of the level 1 training. And so this is something that very many people can relate to. Well, this one is not about hitting the ground and standing up, but it's just the forward bend. Yeah, this is like the beginning of the sun salutation, but you can just do this. Yeah, come down and touch the ground and then come up. And if you can come and press against the ground, even not just touch it, but even press against the ground, then the ground is the one, yeah? And standing up is also a one. So you can see how magical is this exercise, that you are connecting to the one, and then you are standing up and becoming vertical. You don't have to bend back, just vertical. And you make the shape of the one with your body. And you are connecting with number one, but in two different ways. One is on the element of the one, and the other is with the alignment, the vertical alignment of the one. Well, do you remember that one was vertical as well? You see, the vertical alignment. So this exercise could help somebody who feels stuck in the one and unable to move, to move forward, whatever project you have. Then by doing this exercise, you are helping to unstuck yourself, because you're still in the number one. It's just that the energy of the one has become stagnant, or static or stuck. So you take that energy and you bring it into your advantage in a dharmic way. So you connect on the ground, and pressing on the ground is interesting as well. Not just touching the ground, but pressing against the ground. And actually, when you have to raise up and lift the arm. This is like the end of a sun salutation. When you finish and you're standing up from the sun salutation, to bring special awareness to the feet, because again, the feet are against the ground and therefore the feet are connected to one, and you press against the feet on the ground. So you press against the ground and shoom, yeah, not against the feet, sorry, with the feet against the ground, you press and then the body should spring up. The springing up is what's gonna make this energy that is stuck in you, somewhere in your consciousness, to move forward. Now, that's also something interesting, because regarding levels of consciousness, we had that one was the unconscious and sleep. So if I have an issue in myself that I stuck in the bottom of my consciousness, in my unconscious, and that means that I am not aware of it. I don't know why I'm not advancing. I don't know why I'm not initiating. I don't know why I'm not straightening up and moving towards the goal, towards my goal. And I don't know why, because it's not in my conscious layer. It's down, subconscious, or maybe even unconscious. Now, if you want to gather that one to impulse you forward, then this is like when you have been, when you go into a pool that is very deep and you start to go down, you want to touch the ground, the bottom of the pool, and it's quite deep, but you don't know how many meters it is. Maybe it's like 5 meters. I don't know if you've ever been in a pool that is 5 meters deep or 4 meters deep. And then you are like going down and down. And at some point you ask yourself, oh my God, do I have enough air? And you may want to come back up. But actually, because under the water, you feel the pressure. Pressure is one, yeah? Is connected to weight, yeah? The weight of the water. So even though you are in the water, because it's a pool, and water is 2 and 8, even though you're in the water, the deeper you go, you are getting closer to the one. So you're feeling the pressure and the weight of the water over you. And so you may feel tempted, oh, I want to go back up. But actually, to turn around and go back up takes a lot of effort, and there may not be a guarantee that you can go back up. So sometimes, some occasions, when you've gone too deep and you've crossed the line, the middle line, and you're already going towards the bottom, and then if you try to turn around, you would have not enough air to come back up. Sometimes you have to go down to the bottom, touch bottom, and then impulse yourself from the bottom up. And then when you reach the bottom of the pool, and then you press with your feet, and then you can get much more impulse to get back to the surface. Right? We learn numbers through nature and nature through numbers. What does this mean? This means that sometimes when we are in an issue where we are diving into our subconscious, that's the 2 and the 8, maybe you have a trauma, you have some issue that you have to resolve. Now, I'm thinking about trauma because I'm doing this series of podcasts that is already started, the 2nd season, and we are dedicating the whole 2nd season to healing trauma. And sometimes when you are an adult and you go back in your consciousness to remember something from your childhood, and childhood is going back towards the one, and you may have had an experience that was traumatic and that's stuck in these deep, murky waters, and you want to unstuck it, and you want to clean it, and you want to heal it. Sometimes you have to get to the bottom of the pool. Sometimes you need to go to the deepest dirt and find an impulse into that. Yeah, utilize the impulse of what you find there, utilize it to come out. So this metaphor of having to touch bottom, rock bottom, sometimes we need to do it in life. There's situations where we are drowning, we are fighting against it, we don't get anywhere. Sometimes you have to, think laterally rather than trying to fight against it. What can I do? Can I just surrender and then find the impulse within me to conquer it? It's like surrender to conquer. It's like a paradox, but I think you get my meaning. So, if this sounds familiar to you, if this sounds like something that you need, if you find yourself in a situation where you are deep in grief, right? In the 2 and the 8, and you need to touch bottom to come back up, renewed, like a new person, the original, then something new. If you would need to do that, then you can explore that through your body, through this asana. So it's incredible. Sometimes we just take yoga for what it is. I'm just stretching my back, and I'm trying to get some flexibility on my back, so I go down to the floor. Well, first of all, if this was laying down, if this is the ground, and you are just bending up to touch your feet, then this is a completely different exercise, isn't it? Because if this is on the ground and you are just coming up to touch your feet, this is an abdominal exercise. Abdomen is 3, the third point, the navel. And so this is a third chakra exercise, when you are just working on the third chakra to stimulate and finding the flexibility. This is completely different from this. You're standing up and you're coming down, and there is an emotional and there is a psychological effect that this exercise is having, that this one is completely different. I'm not saying this one doesn't have it. This one has other effects. But this one, with the whole metaphor and the reflection I did on the pool and the drowning and the trying to touch bottom to find the impulse that you need to get out of that pool, a dark pool, then this is the exercise to do. So yoga is incredibly rich. And if you just stay on the surface and just see this exercise, think this is just working on my flexibility, you are missing out on a lot. And this is where Karam Kriya becomes an incredible lens through which you can look at something like this, just simple exercise, and then consider the implications in terms of numbers. So we saw about the touching the ground and getting the impulse from the ground and the standing up and the verticality. And then this is like the surrender. You see the surrender? Coming down to touch the ground. But I'm not going to touch the ground. I'm going to find impulse in the ground. I'm going to press against the ground and I'm going to conquer. You see the surrender and the conquering. And, conquering this. There is this thing that I heard Shiv Charan say once. The difference between victim and victor. Yeah. The movement, the path from being a victim to becoming a victor, to conquer, is just self-initiation, to initiate yourself. Not to expect anyone to come and rescue you, not to hope anyone is going to be your rescuer, no? But actually to self-initiate and stand up and do what has to be done. That's standing up. That's self-initiation. Initiate, you can recognize the word. Initiate, initial, that's one, isn't it? So self-initiation, that's a key component of number 1. Do you find the self-initiation within you? So that's a key element. So this is a good example of how we can approach yoga with Karam Kriya, and how by identifying a problem that we have in the person or within us, and maybe we can also see that with our date of birth. So if we find that you were born on the day 1 or the month 1, or there is some issue with the 1 in some of the other quadrants, you already know how to look at the quadrants. We looked at this when we were doing the date of birth. You will remember. Yeah, this was the date of birth. So if you don't know about this diagram, you can find it in the course on number 5 when we did the date of birth. So if we look at here and we say, well, where are the 1s here? Well, in this example, we have a 1 here from the 14. So it's not so strong because there is 5, but the 1 is there. And we have a double 1 here with 11. It kind of also turns into a 2, but it's there. So find where the 1s are and figure out how is that 1 affecting that quadrant. And also, this is the first quadrant. So if I have to look at the number 1, I will look first at this quadrant because this is the 1 and 9. And then where are the 1s in the others? And by identifying the 1s everywhere, then I can have an idea of how they are expressing in that person. And if that is an issue, if that is a problem, then you can for sure find some yogic exercise that is going to go into that issue and unravel it. So by simply doing physical exercises, yeah, like this, everything is connected, body, mind, spirit. If you do physical exercise like this, and if you do it with the intention, int, you recognize the word int, initiate, int, yeah, with the intention to heal that issue of the number one, this is totally a healing practice. This is not being flexible anymore. This is about healing an issue that you have and finding the strength and the will and the verticality and the guidance of number one to move on from where you are stuck. Amazing. So that's what is, to me, I'm passionate about this. This is what to me is more magical about the work we can do with numbers, how they can serve us. So we had some other, let me see. So we've seen the smell and also the seed. There is some meditations where we are sowing seeds, and this is, I'm thinking of a few of them. There is one, it's called Anternat Mudra meditation. Let me show you how it is. Just to make something, today I do it with this book because some of our listeners, our viewers, are Kundalini yogis, but this applies to any yoga, okay? It doesn't have to be just Kundalini yoga. It applies to anything, dancing or any form of expression. But I'm using this because this is a reference I have learned, and I think some of the viewers have done this meditation. So this is Anternat Mudra as a full meditation. So immediately as you see this, you would think, well, it's a full moon, and the moon is linked to the water, so that would be the 2 and the 8. And yes, that's the 2 and the 8. And also, this is about a flower which is opening up. So we would think that this is 4 and the 6. But there is also another component here. When we do this meditation, sare sa sa sare sa sa sare sa sa sarang, and then harare har har harare har har harare har har harang. Yeah, this movement of the flower is very beautiful. It's actually the whole sequence of progression of a plant. From the seed comes the branches and the bud and the flower, and from the fruit come the seeds that we bring them down. Yeah, the seeds fall down, and we sow them into the fertile ground within us. And then the new seed comes back up, yeah, and the new one, we again sow it for next year. So it's the path of the growth of a plant. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a way, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. So this meditation is a beautiful meditation to bring the one into fruition, into the flowering, the opening of the flower, the blooming, yeah, of the self, if you wish. So that's another interesting one. Also, a lot of the meditation is with the sound sa. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 rang. Harare har har harare har har harare har har hararang. So the first part of the meditation is sa, and the second one is hare hare. And if now we are at a point where I can enjoy doing these videos and not having to do long journeys through explaining side quests, yeah, because we have a good collection of videos in the channel, and if I say something and you don't know what it is that I'm saying, I don't have to say, well, and we will talk about this some other video, because there's already a video on this and we can refer to that. So if we refer to the video or the series of videos we did on the mantra course, what is called mantra course, we explored how different sounds vibrate in different areas of the body. And so if we are chanting sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 rang, that's sa is vibrating in the the bottom of the body. That's the legs, feet, legs, and pelvis. So that's the most one, let's say. This is the one. This is what is in contact with the ground. So sa is a vibration that is going to resonate a lot with the one. Sa re, re is a ra, like ram is the third chakra. But it's sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 rang. And then it's ha re re, ha re re. Ha is a sound that is the bija sound for the fifth chakra. And bija means seed. So this is the seed sound of the throat. So seeds we know is number one. So if we are going to working on seeds, I mentioned one possibility is an exercise in which we are seeding, like the one I just showed you with this meditation, that we are planting the seed and growing it, but also meditations which are going to be working on the bija mantras or bija sounds for each chakra. So sare sasa, harare, ha, re is the third chakra, and ha is the fifth. So harare, hare, hare, harare, hare, hare, harare, hare, hare, harang. Sare sasa, sare sasa, sare sasa, sarang. Harare, hare, hare, harare, hare, hare, harare, hare, hare, harang. So it's a beautiful thing that is growing from the 1 to the 3, and then from the 5 to the 3. And the 3 is between the 1 and the 5. So we are doing this dance between the 3 and the 5, and everything is happening here in between. Now, can you imagine how deep can we go with just one meditation? We explore the mantra, we explore the mudra, and we start to find all these connections with all these numbers. And this is like the magical effect that the meditation is having over us. And somebody will say, well, I'm moving the hands a little bit and I'm just chanting something nice. Yeah, it's a nice meditation. Well, there's layers and layers and layers. And depending on how deep we want to go, then if you know what's the issue that you are dealing with, then this meditation could be perfect for you. And doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the opening of the flower, this meditation to open the flower. So you have issues from feeling the butt closed and you need to open. That's the 4 to the 6. This meditation could also be really good for you. These are examples on how we connect it. I cannot explain every single detail. That would be the one. Many of them would be 9. But hopefully by giving some of these examples in detail today, you can have an idea of how can this be relevant to us, and start to get ideas on how to apply it. Then you can let me know in the comments of the video, how are you finding the one within you and within your practice? Which, by the way, doing the practice early morning is going to be different than doing it at night. And early morning is going to be the 1. At night is going to be the number 9 when we go to sleep. So, do you see how much it came from just the word sit? That's how much. Let's see, vertical. Okay, so again, verticality, our posture. So if we see problems with our verticality, which could be connected to the spine, now the spine is what allows us to be vertical, and the vertebrae in the spine, also they are bones, and bone is hard. And so the hardest part of our body is going to be the rock. That's the one. So the bone is one in the body. And being vertical is something that the spine allows us to have. Now, if you have problems with the spine, maybe any kind of deviation of the spine from scoliosis, lordosis, any one of these, then this could be something in relation to number 1, especially because we're talking about bones. So any problem with bones in general is going to be related to number 1. But it's different to say, well, I have problems with the bones, maybe like osteoporosis, for example. Decalcification of the bones, that's a lack of minerals. You will remember. I didn't show it before. I went through very quickly and I didn't get it. Minerals. The mineral realm, mineral, vegetal, animal, human. Well, this is also the minerals, which means, is the balance of minerals in your body right? Do you have appropriate minerals, or do you have maybe anemia? Yeah, a lack of iron in your body, or do you lack some other minerals like calcium or potassium? Well, if that's your issue, that's also number one issue. So this is ways to identify the one. Coming back to the decalcification of the bones, coming back to the osteoporosis. Osteoporosis, that will be a very different problem with number one from scoliosis, which is like the spine is twisted. It's a different problem. It's still a problem with number one, but it's a different issue. So you would probably have to address it differently. And you have to understand that it doesn't come isolated. We are a holistic union of all these different pieces that work together to allow us to function as we do. And so maybe you see, I'm trying to find an example. Maybe you are in an airplane and you find that the seat is like shaking like that. And you may think, oh, these are very uncomfortable seats. What's wrong with these seats? But is it coming from the seat? Or is it some issue in the engine that is not properly synchronized and the blades, or one blade is a little bit twisted and maybe the movement is not fully balanced, and so it's creating this vibration that is progressing and manifesting in your seat. You think it's the problem with the seat, but maybe it's coming from somewhere else. Well, in the same way, we are all connected as human beings, and sometimes something comes up, something manifests in one issue of our life, and everything being connected and everything trying to find its own balance, it may be from somewhere else. And sometimes one part of ourselves have to pay, let's say, pay the sins of the other part. Yeah, some issue in one part, and the one who pays is the other part. Like you have a problem with one foot, and that creates an imbalance in your pelvis, your whole spine twists to try to correct that imbalance, to try to be stable, because the body wants homeostasis and it wants balance, and it will always trying to find balance in some way. So one foot is a little bit, some issue in the foot, it's going to manifest in the spine twisting, and maybe that spine twisting is going to create some how do you say that? The movement of the spine is going to close the gap in your throat a little bit, so it's not so open, so the flow of blood towards your brain is a little bit less, and maybe you have some tension, you accumulate tension in the shoulders, and then there's going to be less blood into your brain, and then you have headaches. I don't know, I'm just trying to make it up a little bit, but can you imagine there's something that happens down there with a foot, and then you have headaches, and you're like, where is this coming from? So everything is connected. And just like in the body, everything is connected, there is all these levels which are connected. So some issue that manifests in your life on one level, it's going to be connected to the other levels. And you can also work through the other levels to deal with this. Coming back to the example of I'm feeling stuck in my life, and my projects are not advancing. And there's some physical exercise that we can do from yoga that is actually going to help me to get it unstuck. So let's continue here. So verticality, issues of verticality. By the way, you can also identify this in the posture of people. So I'm very tall. I think I mentioned it a few times. I'm over 6 feet, almost 2 meters. And after I went through a certain height when I was growing, I found that it's difficult to talk to people when you are so tall, and you often have to bend down to listen to people. Sometimes they speak at a tone and you don't hear them well, and if I want to hear and be part of the conversation, I need to bend down. And I found that I was bending a lot, so I have a tendency to go into this posture, which many people do for different reasons. You may feel that you go into that because of the weight on your shoulders. That's like a metaphorical way to say that you have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe you didn't inherit them. Maybe you put them there, but and you can tell how much you want to hold on or not. But independently from that, If you have too much weight on your shoulders, that can also bring you into this position. Or if you feel very exhausted with lack of energy, you may not have the energy to stand up straight, and then you end up in this position. Whether you are exhausted, whether you are with a lot of heavy things on your shoulders, or whether you are very tall and you cannot hear very well, the spine may be bending. And that's going to manifest in the one in some way. So super interesting to observe the body of the person, to observe the spine of the person, the straightness and the balance. The balance would be more like the 5, because the 5 is in the middle and tries to find the balance. But you can see that because the whole body is trying to balance itself, some issue in one part is going to self-correct it in another part, and that's where you lose that verticality. So issues of verticality. So that's something that over the years is going to be manifesting in the spine, and you can observe in the body of the person, but also works like that. Because of all these years that I had to bend down to try to hear people, then that also develops a certain attitude and a consciousness and a psychological state of being bent down. And so that it goes together. And there is an exercise we do in yoga. I used to do it in the teacher trainings and when we are exploring the world of asanas, where I put people in this posture like this, like standing up but letting the arms down and the head down, like that. Yeah. And you can try it by yourself in your house, just like that, and try to feel happy. Maybe the very instruction is kind of cheeky because I'm saying try to be happy, yeah? But you will see that it's really hard to feel joyful and happy and open-hearted when you are like this. Which, by the way, that's another reason why people go in this posture and then bend down, is to protect the heart. Maybe they were hurt, they had some issue that somebody hurt them. Actually, the very same issue of bending down, I mentioned already quite a few different reasons why we could be doing this. A lack of energy, that was the 2 and the 8. There is the wanting to be part of the social group, that's the 3 and the 7, and wanting to hear I would bend down and be part of the group is like being the same as them, yeah, being equal with them, that's the 3 and the 7. Maybe my heart was harmed, maybe something happened that it was painful, and now I'm closing my heart to protect myself, so my body goes into this, that's the 4 and 6. So I'm giving different examples of how one number may affect another. Now, how the 2 and 8 may cause the spine to bend, or the 3 and the 7, or the 4 and the 6. I'm trying to give many examples so that you can figure out later how to apply it to your life and to others that you see around you. But yeah, we are bent down, and then after years of bending like this, even if it's just because you want to be part of the social group and you want to hear them properly, it causes a certain emotion. And when you are like this, it's very hard to feel happy. And then we do the complementary exercise where we open up and we lift like that, opening up the arms and opening the shoulders back and even raising the head a little bit to really fully open. And we say, try to feel sad. And that's the thing, sadness is like bringing us down, and happiness is bringing us up. And if we do this with the physical body, you can see how much of the body is connected to the emotions. So when we are going through a series of exercises with the body, through asanas, we are actually, like the triangle pose or cobra pose or whatever we are doing, we are exploring emotions as well. We are moving the emotions within us. And therefore, we are also working with the numbers, whatever, all these layers. So that's why you may be having a problem in your life, and yoga can help you. Yeah, especially if you can find that kriya which is just perfect for the issue that you have, because it's going to work on that issue. Just like we saw before about bending forward and touching the ground. So there's going to be something that's going to be perfectly aligned with your numbers. And yeah, that's going to take a lot of experience and a lot of practice. And I'm not even claiming that I know how to do this properly. I'm still in learning. I need a lot of more experience on the issue. I would say Shiv Charan is as close as you can have to a perfect master on the issue, that he can hear something that's happening. He can look at your date of birth and give you, some guidance on how to deal with this. But we can just start little by little and start practicing what we learn and explore through our practice of the yoga and see how it comes up. I'm looking forward to hearing voices. So if you try this, write it in the comments of the video. I want to hear how you are applying it. Let's continue. This all came from vertical. You see, we can go so deep into every little aspect. Now, skeletal, I already covered this because this is the hardest part of the body. That's the earth of the body. That will be the skeletal system. And so bones. And interesting, within the largest bone in the body, which is the femur, that's where the blood is produced. And the blood has a lot of minerals, and you will find that the regulation of the mineral balance in the body is in that region, in the femur. So if you do exercises which are going to be working on your thighs, sustaining the femur, charging your thighs with energy, like for example, frog pose. Let me just show, let's see if there's any kriya around here with frog pose. Oh, this one is not frog pose, but it's also going to help. Coming back down to crow pose, This is also vertical. This is also number one. This is also a lot about the earth, and you have to push with your feet to stand up. And one instruction in this exercise, you can also try with the arms on top of your head like this. And this is also one exercise that is given in yoga to correct deviations of the column. When the spine is twisted, this exercise can help to correct it. But you have to try to keep the spine as straight as possible, because the tendency when you are doing this exercise is that as you come down, the body is leaning forward, and you have to make an effort to keep the body as vertical as possible. You see, like in the image, it's a little bit forward, but try to keep it as vertical. And don't do this. So then clunk, don't go forward and then down. But keep the body vertical all the way. So this is an excellent exercise. It's going to be strengthening the thigh muscles that cover the femur. And because this is the area that is regulating the minerals in the body, that's the one. And it's done vertical, and it's doing pressing on the ground. And you have to try this to keep the spine as straight as possible. That's one. This is an excellent exercise working on number one. Look, here we have this one as well. So here we have a good kriya that is going to be working on number one a lot. It's not a coincidence because it's called Foundation for Infinity. And we know foundation is number one. And if you want to have a tall tree, the roots have to be really deep. So this is, you want to raise high, and this is raising yourself. You are going to have to grow deep roots. So you will see exercises that connect to the ground, like this one. This one as well. You're putting your body from this posture to this one. This is back platform. So you are lifting the pelvis and pressing on the ground. You need to try to even give touch with the toes. Toes is also the little fingers. One is the smallest part of the body. So touching with the toes on the ground, lifting. Fighting against gravity. Gravity is one. Lifting, getting into a straight line, that's one, and then looking up towards the sky, looking vertical, so you can find this verticality here in your arms, and you're looking high towards the sky. So that's a very strong one, linked to the three in this case, because the navel has to do an incredible effort to lift and have this straightness. So the connection between the one and the three. And you could see how the kriya advances working on the one. Now here you are stretching to side, and that's the 2 and the 8. And it's interesting because it's for infinity, so we are connecting to the 8, and this is 2 and the 8. And if we carry on with the kriya, we'll find that eventually it ends in a meditation where we, if I remember correctly, we are putting the tongue in the upper palate. Let me check. Yes, top against the roof of the mouth, which means that the tongue is going to point up and the energy is going to be rising up towards infinity, towards the 10th gate. But that's the verticality, thanks to the verticality that you establish with the one. So a lot of interesting things when you can read the Kriya, or you can just see the exercises and read what is happening behind the simple exercise. What else is there in the essence? Someday we will do this with a Kriya more in depth to analyze the Kriya and understand every little detail that is happening there. But just so that we can start to do this with number one. And when we have more language, you will see this. There's another thing here. As I was speaking, I thought, what about the chakras? I was thinking, what about the chakras? Well, there's the first chakra here. As you're coming down, is like touching on the ground with the first chakra. Yeah, the first chakra is in the bottom of the pelvis. And so that's going to be a good one for the first chakra. And this exercise is actually really good. It's opening up the whole region of the first chakra. But in order to hold the posture and to hold steady, you have to apply mulband. So that's going to also help you to hold the posture quite strong while you are pushing and lifting yourself and coming down. You need to hold that mula bandha. And so this is going to be a very good exercise for the first chakra. So there you go. And bandha too. The first is mula bandha. Yeah, mula bandha is going to be applying itself in the first chakra. Bandhas in general, they are contractions of muscles. So that's going to be one as well, because it's becoming a point. But mula bandha, particularly because it's in the region of the first chakra, is going to be stimulating number one. You see how many things are coming up, and I feel like I'm speaking so quick today. Today I'm letting my Spanish blood run a little bit because there's so much that we could talk, and we only just started to cover the physical body. I haven't even gone into the emotion. I think I'm not going to go into all the others because otherwise it will be too long, the video. But let me do a little bit more of what we find here with the physical. The body organ is the stomach, and there is a relation between each organ of the body and the 10 numbers, and this goes according to Chinese medicine. The stomach is number one because it's the first organ that receives the food in the digestive system, which is a very complex system that involves a lot of organs. But the stomach is the first one to receive solid food. That's one. Yeah. I wouldn't say the mouth is an organ, so I would say the stomach is the first one. And so the solid food, that's the one that comes into the stomach. And the stomach has two functions. There is the physical, how is it called? Mechanical digestion, and there is the chemical digestion. Chemical is another level, but it's in terms with acids and some other the bile and some other substances that the body produces to be able to extract the nutrients from the food. That's the chemical digestion. But the mechanical digestion, which by the way starts in the teeth is one, okay, because one is the hardest part of the body, not just the spine and the bones, but also the teeth. So from the teeth, we bite and we chew. That's the mechanical processing of cutting the food into little pieces. Then it goes to the stomach, and the stomach with its muscles continues that process. So the stomach is very much linked to the one, according to Chinese medicine. I need some water. So if you find yourself, for example, having some problems with the stomach problems, and it's not like you are eating something different than usual, or being unreasonable with the hours or something of the food that you are eating, then this could be a sign that there is some issue with number one somewhere else, right? So if you see some problem in the digestion, you may have a problem with a one somewhere else. Maybe, let me just give a simple example. At work, they may ask you to bend the rules. and maybe you are in a difficult situation because you are in between some clients or some workers in your company, and you are like a middle boss, and then you have a higher boss. And there's some rules in the company, but then there's also the application of these rules to real life. And then for some reason, you find yourself in a situation where you need to bend the rules. And then remember about bending the body. And then you want to keep your verticality, the straightness. And then you find yourself that a part of you feels that for this situation, it would be necessary to bend the rules. And then you find yourself between the company asking you to stand straight and the real life situation with your client needs you to bend the rules. And so you are in this fight against this bending and standing straight, and you may end up with some digestion problems. And then the stomach may have some issues, and then you're like, oh, it's the stress. Yeah, okay, it could be, we can say it like that. We can just say it's a stress, but stress can manifest in many ways. Why is it the stomach? Yeah. By the way, it could also be in the sleep. Yeah, because sleep is one. And this is something we see very often, situations of stress that are affecting different realms. But in this case, I'm just putting the example of this bending the rules and the one and the problem with the one, and so manifesting in the stomach. Or I just unable to sleep. And yes, okay, you could say it's because of the stress, sure. But the number that is manifesting would be number one in this case. I'm not saying stress is one, eh? Stress is another level. Okay, so skeletal, that's the stomach. There's the what, the gravity. Okay, so gravity, this is the example I gave before. If we are doing this exercise that we are leaning on the ground and lifting the body to touch the legs, is different from standing up, bending forward to touch the legs. Actually, there is a Kriya where you do these 4 exercises, and you are on the back, and then you bring the legs behind you as well. So one is when you are on the feet and you are coming to touch the feet, and then that's another one where it's on the back and you are bringing the legs behind you, like in plow pose. And so there's four different angles. Yeah. Forward, and then backward, and then sitting up. It's called the 4 U's for you. It's called the Kriya. Very tough Kriya. And what you experience in that Kriya is that the very same exercise, you only change the angle. And the changing of this angle, you can try to imagine, when you are standing up and bending forward, the effort to bend forward is done by gravity. You just have to hold on, resisting gravity when you come down and fighting gravity when you come up. But if you're coming down, if you stay in this posture, right? Because that Kriya is staying in the posture, it's not doing the movement. So this exercise is quite relaxing, because bending, you don't have to do any effort. Is the gravity. Gravity is number 1, remember, Earth. But if we turn this, and you are sitting, and you are bending to touch the feet, suddenly you have to have some effort to hold the posture, especially if you are very tense here. If you are relaxed here, you may lean and relax. But then, let's turn it again. Now on your back, and now the legs go behind, like in plow pose. And again, you are fighting against gravity now in a different posture. So how all this comes from gravity. What is your relationship to gravity in the posture, in the yoga posture? So gravity affects the posture in different ways, and that's going to be the one element in that posture. One and 9, baby, and therefore also baby pose. Yeah, you will know. Baby pose is like this one, but without raising the arms, just letting the arms down by the side. And it's a posture for resting. So when you see baby pose, that's going back to number 1. we often do that after a very strenuous exercise. We go back to the 1 because 1 is resting, so we rest in that 1. And when there's more things, but I feel like we're going too deep, and it's already been 1 hour. My goodness, it's been 1 hour. But what else? Can I say something more? Let me just say that we have explored today in depth many aspects of number 1, especially related to the physical level. How can they relate to other levels, and especially through postures in yoga? With this, you can look at your date of birth, or you can look at the date of today, like the 18th of February, and choose the exercises that are going to be more suitable to your energy to find the dharmic expression of your numbers, so that you don't find yourself stuck in situations that you don't want to be stuck, for example. And you can apply everything we talked about on the physical level. You could apply it for the emotional level and the mental level and the spiritual level. So rather than me doing all the work, one of the rules of the teacher is don't do for your students what they can do for themselves. So I'm going to leave it like this. How about you who are listening? If you are listening up until here and you endured 1 hour of conversation, and endurance is the 9 connected to the 1. Well done, first of all. You did it. And second, I challenge you a little bit to explore what are the emotional levels of number 1, or how can number 1 manifest as problems on the emotional level. What about the psychological and the spiritual? Okay? So emotional, psychological, and spiritual of number 1. See if you can come out with a list of them, maybe 3, let's say 3 words each or 3 sentences each. And let's see what you come up with. Look, this is not a course. It is a course, but it's not a course. If it was a real course, I would be seeing you on the video, and we would be interacting, and I would be asking you direct questions and putting you into groups to do exercises. I cannot do this, unfortunately, but I can interact with you through the comments. So do this exercise if you can, and if you feel willing. Remember about self-initiation, the difference between victim and victor. Do you wanna get to victory? So this is my proposal to you. Find the emotional, psychological, and spiritual levels, and then write them in the comments, and then I will interact with you and maybe read them later on and see what we come out with. That's all from me for today. I think 1 hour will be perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for being with me. Next Thursday, it's possible that I will not be streaming. I'm going to be traveling, and I have some things to deal with before traveling. I had one video planned. I was thinking about it, but I think I'm going to leave it for another week. So probably I will skip it. But thank you very much, and see you next week. Satam.